So on the microphones, this is a repair you'll want to do if you're talking to somebody and they cannot hear you. No matter how loud you talk or how loud their volume is on their end, if they can't hear you, they can't hear you. And this could be that the microphone is bad itself, and we'll show you how to replace that. It could also be that the cable down here is unplugged. And between replacing the microphone or replacing this whole navigation cable, it's way easier to replace the mic. So we'll show you how to do that. The other microphone on here is up here on your speaker flex cable, the ear speaker flex cable. That would be if you're talking on hands-free on the loudspeaker and somebody cannot hear you. That microphone may be bad or the cable may be unplugged. So either or, if it's this microphone or if it's this microphone, they are repaired the same way and it's the same microphone. So I will show you on this one how to do it, but if you need to do this one, it's done the exact same way. So we'll get started. So on the close-up here, we have our phone, and the first thing you'll want to do is to pop this little microphone cover, this little guide, out of the hole. And you'll notice on the back side that you can kind of pinch the end and just slide it off. So it's just a little cover that slides into. So that's all it is. So you want to set that aside. Keep it there for when we put it back in place. Now the whole unit itself right here, you'll bend this backwards, but you want to be careful of this cable right here. If you crease that cable, you run the risk of damaging the navigation buttons, damaging any of this, and when you go to use it, it may not work. And then you'd actually have to replace the cable. So you want to make sure that you do not crease this little cable going out to the plug. You want to keep it, you can bend it, but just don't crease it. So we'll bend it backwards. And what I do is I will use tape, Scotch tape, and just tape it down in place and keep it so that this microphone is able to be worked on right there. So kind of tack all that down. It should be. And what may happen is when you're in the middle of it, the tape's going to pop up. No big deal. Just retape it and get back in business. But with every repair, you want to make sure that you take your time and that it's done properly. You don't want to rush it or kind of jimmy rig it, because then you run the risk of damaging other things. So when you're looking at the microphone, you'll notice that there is a positive side and a negative side. And this side's positive, that side's negative. You want to make sure that the new microphone you put on goes on the same way. So you'll notice there's kind of a half yellow, mustard yellow looking part down there, almost like a little smiley face. Well, you want to make sure the new microphone you put on has that same little half yellow part on the bottom. Because if you put it on upside down and say that part's at the top, then you'll end up, your microphone won't work. So you want to make sure that you put it on the same way that you took the old one off. Some mics will have a plus, a minus on them, but if they don't, you just want to make sure the new part you put on looks identical to the one you're taking off. So we'll set that aside. We'll get our soldering iron, and really all you have to do is just touch it. Not much, but you touch it a couple of times and it just pops right off. So there's the old one. Here's the new one. And again, take your time. You should be able to kind of line it up and make sure that it is on how it should be. And if it's not right, I mean, just it might take you an extra second or two, but I mean, really, if it's done properly, it'll save you a lot of time on the long run. So you keep that tacked in. Just touch it, it tacks. Touch it, it tacks. And really, I don't think you need to apply any solder, because the solder from the old mic should be okay. But if you need to, we'll just touch it real quick. Okay, and then I'll re-tack it just to make sure. You get a nice flow on there. Okay, and we'll take our tape off. Okay. Now this part may give you a headache or two, but you'll want the flat part of the cable that's running on top of the microphone to run straight into the opening on top. So you'll know if it feels weird when you go to try to put it in, or it doesn't look right. If you go to put it in upside down like that, obviously the mic is not going to be sitting in this little cavity right here, because the cable will run here, and then you need the microphone sitting here. So you'll want it to be this way, running like that. So, and you may need to use your fingers. You can pinch it and just kind of slide it into place. But once the cable runs straight in and the mic is sitting in that cavity, then you can flip this over, slide the mic right in that little cubby, and if you need to, you can add a little touch of adhesive just to keep this cable down in place. But there you go. Make sure that that cable's not creased at all, and put it back together and test it out. But that should fix your microphone issue.